Apologies about the unbearable lag there, but we are live here for PSGL F1. We are here tonight for season 33. It is round 10 of the championship and a potential championship decider here in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. As you can tell, my name is James Hearn and I'm going to be taking to the stream tonight with Jess in absence. She's on holiday, the lucky so-and-so. Hopefully she's enjoying a holiday up, I believe, in Liverpool area, which is not too bad. Joining me in the commentary box, you can't get rid of him though, from PSF1, it is the absolute GOAT. It is Mr. Aiden Carter. Aiden, how you doing?
And doing very well. Yeah, you can't get rid of me. I'm stuck. I'm permanently stuck in here. I'm trapped. Please help me. But yeah, no, looking forward to tonight. Yeah, going to be a really interesting night here at the Jeddah Corniche circuit. Going to be a really interesting race. It's a very difficult circuit. One of the more difficult circuits we come to in Formula One. And like you mentioned as well, potential championship decided tonight. So everything on the line for the people second and third in the championship tonight.
Yeah, definitely so. It is going to be very interesting, I think, of how everything is going to actually withhold out on track. And, of course, to review what happened last week, it was Volokongan who took the championship lead. He took the win last week in Hungary. Fantastic strategic call actually from him, lasting I think nearly 28 laps. I think it was on a set of hard compound tyres. A fantastic performance for him. He took the race win, of course, in Hungary last week. Rowan there in second, his first podium of the actual season and his first big point haul as well of the season, with his sixth place, with his 6 points picked up, of course, in Bahrain. And then in third was Aurelian, and we'll come on to Aurelian in just a second because he has moved teams from one big PS team to the other. It is, of course, Max who leads the way. Did take the fastest lap point, however, last week, so the gap is now 19 points between Max and Marcados. And the championship permutation is quite simple. If Max wins, he wraps up the championship here tonight. If Marcados wins, he needs to, I think, finish 3 points ahead of Max to take it to the final round of the championship in Brazil. It's a 19-point gap coming in tonight. Tom, as I've alluded to just before we came live, I wouldn't rule him out around this track. He's there in third on 54 points after a do not start and a DNF in the last two races. Kian there in fourth on 38. Volokongan in fifth on 37 after his fantastic race result last week. Fabi in sixth on 35. Yaron in seventh on 32. Aurelian there in eighth on 32. Jensen in ninth on 31. And then Nando in 10th on 27 points. And Aiden, reviewing the action, of course, from last week in Hungary, you had the box I see. Volokongan took the win. Rowan in second, Aurelian there in third. If we get a bit of a mix-up like the result last week in Hungary, it could be anybody's game here tonight.
It really good, and we've kind of seen that a lot so far this season. We've seen a lot of races this season where we've had a real mix of performances and kind of an up and down kind of performance between different cars. Obviously, China was a big example of that with the wet conditions. That obviously was a race that Jensen won. We obviously saw Vodafone win last week with an earlier safety car, and they made the right call to stay out, to pit under the safety car and not stay out and then pit again. So did a brilliant job last time out, did Vodafone, as did Rowan as well, like you said, getting his first big point score of the season. So really, really interesting stuff it's been so far this season. And yeah, it's kind of thrown a lot of a big spanner into the works, really, these kind of performances into the championship, because we haven't really seen Marcados and Max and Tom be consistent all the way through the season. That's kind of been the story of a lot of previous F1 seasons, is that people like Denurco in the past, or Matthew Older, or those kind of names, they would win a championship through winning on track, but also being incredibly consistent and picking up podiums, top fives week in, week out. And that has not been the case really for anybody so far this season. It's been very up and down for everybody. So, and those races obviously play into it. And of course, Jeddah, we know, is a very difficult circuit. There's a lot of places for you to crash here, a lot of different areas where you can pick up time penalties. They could be a big thing. Of course, the time penalty talking point from last week in Budapest as well. Marcados finished on the road in fourth after a solid comeback throughout the race on the non-preferred strategy. But he got a 5-second penalty in that race for overtaking off the track. I think it was Frankie he overtook off the track, if I remember correctly, in the second Alfa Romeo. He tried to get that one removed in the steward's room, did not get it removed, so he ended up finishing in sixth, which is why it's a 19-point gap and not a 16-point gap like it would have been had that penalty been removed. So I think Marcados is coming into a night maybe a little bit angry with how that's turned out after last week, because before any safety car intervention in the previous race in Budapest, Marcados kind of had that race in the bag. So yeah, it could have been a very different story coming into tonight, but like you've mentioned already, championship permutations wise, Marcados, if Marcados wins tonight, no matter what happens, we go to the final round with a fight for the championship, because obviously he needs that 3-point swing. And even if Max finishes second with the fastest lap and Marcados wins, that's still the 3-point swing that Marcados needs. So Yeah, basically, Marquinhos just needs to win tonight, which is easier said than done. He's finished second, I think, 6 times in the past, so he's come close, but no cigar on many occasions. So if he can win tonight, that is great for him. But I think for Max, kind of Max's real target, you've got to say tonight, is kind of not damage limitation, but management as much as if you can finish one place behind Marquinhos, even if that's Marquinhos winning and him finishing second, that is more than enough for Max to go to the final round of the championship feeling very comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. So I think Max has been an absolute pinnacle, I've got to say, of racing here. I mean, he's picked up 3 race wins, first 2 rounds of the championship, and of course in Azerbaijan in round 6. Very difficult to win around that track as well. We'll have a quick look at the constructor standings. The drivers are out on track. Keane's just coming through in towards turn 27 now, so we'll quickly run through the constructors and get into the racing here. Alfa Romeo out on top on 103 points, Mercedes in second on 96, Ferrari in third on 85, Alpine in fourth on 64, then Red Bull in fifth on 49, Haas in sixth on 48, then 2 teams on 47, McLaren and Aston Martin tying out for seventh, AlphaTauri there in ninth on 28, and then Williams there in 10th on 23 points as we now get onto the on-track action. We'll run a ball with Keane on the run now through the right-hander of turn number 2, then through the left-hander, of course, of turn number 3. He is the first man, of course, out on track underneath a lap at this stage, and of course he has welcomed a new part of the team, for the Talent Factory team at least, and that is of course the man, the myth, the absolute GOAT, the Frenchman Aurelien, who is now joining the Talent Factory team as of tonight. I believe it's his first race under the team as well, as Key now comes through the left-hander of turn number 12 into the left-hander again of turn number 13, and 31.8 in the first sector. Actually not too bad at all through the first sector. Now coming through the very tight left-hander of turn 13, 180-degree hairpin through there, now through the right-hander of 14, and then in towards pretty much the 2 corners that could catch people out through 16 and 17. Get caught in this inside curb, you'll either invalidate or they end up going off camber and into the wall on the right-hand side, as Kia now runs down at the straight, the second DRS on, of course, the third one being down in towards turn 27, and Kia in the middle sector, 1 minute flat in the middle sector is already very quick, coming now through right-hander 23, through the right-hander 24, the Red Sea on the right-hand side, literally about 100 metres behind the barriers, it's just over there, as Kia now comes in towards the left-hander of the final corner at turn 27, and this is not actually looking like a bad lap at all from Kian as he now comes through the final couple of corners on the run to the line. Does come the Talent Factory man. It should be, I think, a very good lap from his perspective on the run to the line. 27.3 to start off the night. That is a pretty good lap to start off the night.
It's a pretty good lap, but it's just been bettered by 0.2 of a second by Rowan. Podium sitter last time out. Really good lap there from Rowan. He found most of that time actually in the final part of the lap. He really nailed that fast chicane of turn 22 and 23 to the AlphaTauri. So good lap on the board there from him. Mubarak crosses the line 28.8. Remember, Mubarak is, I believe, the only driver in the field running on a pad, and I think this is probably the worst track to run a pad on. So not surprised potentially if we see Mubarak a little bit off the pace tonight, as one of our championship protagonists, Tom, goes into P2 after the first runs. Tom, of course, is still technically in the championship running, but Tom really needs things to go horribly wrong for Max tonight. But speaking of Max, Max has just gone to the top of the timesheets by exactly half a tenth, so 27.1 from our championship leader. Yeah, and as I was saying, Tom currently 26 points outside of the championship lead. He is still mathematically within contention, but he needs Max really to not score, really, if he wants to go into the final round of the championship with any sort of chance of winning this title. So Tom's got a big task on his hands to try and keep inside the championship fight. But I think Tom's already mentioned many a time in previous interviews we've had with him that this isn't really his main focus at the moment, especially with challenges going on as we speak. So he's maybe just coming into tonight, seeing what comes of it, and if anything does happen, then he can benefit from that maybe later on in the race. I think Stefano's going to be the last one to finish their first run. Actually, never mind. Stefano's coming to start the next one. He's the only one currently out on the track on a hot lap at the moment. A lot of drivers having to box at the end of their first runs for making mistakes. I think both Kazizo and Marquinhos potentially made mistakes on their first run, so they've pitted and put on another set of softs. But luckily for them, this track, even though the track is quite long in distance, because it is so high speed, the track's actually quite short in terms of lap times. So you can get to the end of the lap pretty well, and you can get you can potentially get 4 runs in, especially if you make a mistake on one of your runs out on the lap.
Yeah, definitely so. Indeed, Stefano is on the run, coming now through the right hand of turn 8 and turn 9. Anas there saying in the chat, where is Frankie? Believe this or not, I am going to get his reason up. 32.1, by the way, for Stefano in the first sector, so not actually a bad first sector at all. The reason why Frankie is not here, apparently he's having police problems. Never heard that excuse in my life of being 10 years in league racing. Never have I seen anybody, I think, use that as a bit of a reason for not turning up. Hopefully, though, everything is okay, of course, with Frankie. More important things there, obviously, to deal with. He is not here tonight as a result of that. but a very, very strange and weird thing to try and happen. Stefano 1 minute point 5 in the middle sector. Apologies, the game sound has just gone off on the Elgato. There we go, let's kick him back in. So there we are. Stefano now coming into the left-hander of turn 27. It's Max, Rowan and Tom currently in the top 3. 6 minutes gone in qualifying, still 12 minutes remaining here in qualifying, of course. I was going to say Q1. Been so used to commentating for Q1, Q2, Q3 recently. Stefano, though, coming into the final couple of corners on the run to the line. 27.778, not a bad lap at all, but he was on a 2-lap older tyres than the rest of the guys that have set. Mubarak there down in 10th position as well. Kazizel, Markados just starting up on a lap, and we'll have a focus, a keen eye on Markados on this lap. Now coming through the left-hander for turn 6, 7, and then through the right-hander of 8 and 9. Not looking too bad actually through the first sector, very neatly done out of turn 10, 11, and then through the left-hander turn number 12. And Markados' first sector is a 31.8 in the first sector, so matching what we saw with Tom a little bit earlier on this lap, along with Kian as well. Markados really does need to get an early banker, I think, on the board, try and challenge Max and Rowan, even though I would say Max's race pace is probably better than his qualifying pace.
Yeah, that's kind of been the way of the season so far. Max hasn't been always the star of qualifying. He's been up there or thereabouts, but he's very consistent in race speed. Markados very much the opposite. Markados has been really strong in qualifying all season long, but more often than not, that's not translated into winning race pace. So it needs to flip tonight really for Markados if he wants to win this title. He kind of wants to be the one doing well in qualifying, and 1 minute flat in the middle sector as well, kind of representative of where we saw the likes of Tom and Kian, but 59.9 from Rowan and Max at the end of the second sector is where the fastest times have been so far as he heads through the final corner. Just Markados on the run towards the line, keep hit to the left-hand side for the shortest run as he crosses the line now, and it is a 27.1, so a very good final sector in the end there for Markados, but he still goes P3 at the moment as Kazizel managed to go just behind in P4 in the McLaren as well, so not a bad lap there from Kazizel in the McLaren. He has just been pipped to that P4 though by OP Stefano, who's come across the line and is the 4th driver in the 27.1s. You wouldn't think that this track has 27 corners and is one of the longest tracks on the calendar with how closely matched this field is, but it has been that way pretty much all season long. So yeah, lovely laps on the board there. I think the other driver on a lap at the moment, currently Volokongan, who's just started a lap as Volokongan, last week's winner. Kian is on a lap as well. Tom up towards the line. He's just starting his next run in the qualifying as well. So we'll keep an eye on what they can do. And of course, with Max as well. Max is crossing the line to start his next run in the qualifying session.
Yeah, definitely so. Volokongan, though, coming through the left-hander of turn number 8 and 9. Of course, we'll focus on the likes of Max and Tom as we go through the session. Of course, Volokongan, last week's race winner in Hungary, nearly invalidates actually coming out of turn number 11 there, and he has backed off. So Volokongan not happy with his exit there, coming out of turn number 11, down in 12th position. Normally expecting towards the midpoint of the field. We pick up on board now with Max coming through the same part on the track, and he clips the curb on the inside through turn number 8, and that just sends him off camber, sends him in an invalidation zone as well. So that is Max now down and out lap, and it was a 31.7 in that first sector, so he would have been improving by at least a tenth of a second. Rowan just starting up on a run. Markados, of course, has finished. Stefano, I believe, has run out of fuel because this obviously is not on a lap, and Tom, 31.7 in the first sector, is actually on a lap. So the Ferrari now coming down the back straight here in towards turns 22 and 23, famously, of course, where we saw Charles Leclerc famously spin it in 2021 around here, of course, for the first race here, and he's 2 times up, 59.9 in the middle sector, but that is how close you are to the track limits around here, as Tom invalidates pretty much as I saw in F2 a little bit earlier on, with drivers invalidating through there. Tom has done exactly the same thing, and he is now invalid once again, now then towards turn 27. It'd be very interesting to see what his lap time would have been. But the Shazoo man in 6th position, his main focus being challenges. I think his main focus for this session currently is to try and get a lap time on the board and trying to better his time.
Yeah, it was looking like a good lap, like you say, but 22 and 23, so easy to invalidate there. You can carry so much apex speed, but obviously it's a painted curb on the left-hand side, and then on the right-hand side it's a physical curb, and more often than not, if you hit that physical curb and potentially right over the top of it, you can kind of skateboard across the top of it, and that's where you see a lot of these invalidations come in, where you lose that grip from underneath your car on the curb, and you just can't turn away from the white line. As across the line goes Desso to go P2. Good lap there from Desso. Desso, remember, of course, was on pole last week in Budapest, had a horrible race by his standards, unfortunately. He just went backwards right from the start, but he qualified on pole position last time out, so he's been a good qualifier all season long. right onto the front row alongside Max, and that is our 5th driver in the 27 ones. Now they can't seem to get away from them as Aurelian crosses the line. He goes P8 in the rear of the car and aborted the lap and went straight into the pit lane, and he's coming back out on another set of tyres now. So there is more time on the board as well for Kian, so look out for him potentially to try and improve as the session goes on. I think Jensen's on a lap at the moment, although I think he may be on a second lap on this set of tyres, but it's a good first sector, 31.8 for Jensen. Yeah, I think he backed off the first lap on this set of tyres, so these tyres haven't got too much life wear in them. Of course, this track actually isn't too hard on tyres, so shouldn't be too much of a disservice to Jensen to run these tyres maybe a lap longer. But good first sector for the Ferrari. He's been on an upturn of form recently, and as I say that, too much that power coming out of the chicane, drops the rear of the car, manages to keep it out of the wall, which is well held, but unfortunately for Jensen, that is the lap completely ruined.
Yeah, that was a complete stylized 360, by the way, from Jensen. 10 marks, I think, for that one. Down in 11th position currently, 27.7. Now in 12th as Rick goes quicker than him, 27.5. Of course, a former academy driver, actually, of Shazoo, now part of the main team, has been for a couple of months now, and Rick has been doing a fantastic job. Evan Dalton in the chat there saying hello, did a fantastic job, of course, covering me in F2 on solo comms, I may add, as well. So big up to Mr. Evan Dalton there in the chat. And if Evan can he please close the poll, is what I'm going to ask him now within the chat, now that he's here. Max out on top, Dessel second, Rowan there in third. I would close the poll, otherwise my CPU will probably die and the stream will probably die as a result. So I do not want to risk that whatsoever. Stefano's 4/10 up, coming out the middle sector, 1 minute flat in that middle sector, now coming through the final couple of corners. Max currently 64% of the vote, no 36%. I did also vote no, by the way, for F1 because I want to see Jess here commentating on the season finale. Nothing against, of course, the racing here. And, of course, Max's Marcados has had a huge moment coming out of turn 8 and 9 as I flick on board with him. Backed off his lap, I think, previously. The Marcados there, 4th position, 127.167. He is definitely not happy with that near invalidation coming through that first sector.
Yeah, I was just on board with him actually to start that lap. It was a good turn 1 and 2, but it was actually turn number 4 where he turned into the corner, just lost the rear of the car, and immediately he just decided to back off and wait for the next lap. So that is why he has backed off on this run, but he will go again, and of course he'll be able to get a little bit of fuel out of that car as well while he's on that case. So maybe it might be a little bit of a blessing in disguise. I'm looking at OP Stefano currently in the Aston Martin through the first sector. He's slightly down on his personal best in the first sector. 0.02 down on his personal best, but with the way they're split between the top 5, that could mean the difference between pole and starting 5th. Speaking of starting on pole, Max is on a run and he's nearly a 10th up in the first sector. Good first sector there from Max. Can he maybe find a little bit more time in the middle part of the lap? This is where you're going to find the least amount of time. It doesn't really have that many corners. Most of the corners are just parts of a straight. He's actually lost a tiny bit of time in comparison to his personal best in the middle sector, but it's still up at the moment. This could be a 27 flat. Even with a good final sector, this could be the first driver into the 1 minute 26s, and he's going to get a potential tow. There's Ian actually from nowhere. And whoa, look at that from Tom. That is a brilliant lap time from Tom. A 26.8. Completely missed that one. That is a brilliant lap time from the Ferrari. Here comes Max then. Can he retake pole position? Crosses the line. No, he can't. He stays third in the end. He did find a little bit more time in the final sector, but he still stays third. That is a brilliant time from Tom to go 26.8. We've seen how close the field has been so far. He's put nearly 2/10 on the field with that lap time. That is a stunning lap.
What did I say to you before we came live on the stream? I did say
we did make some of our own personal predictions, and I think James is already starting to gloat about his predictions potentially.
I did say, just for the benefit of doubt and for the context of it, I did say Tom was quite strong around this track, and he has actually won here before. He's beat this man here, Jensen, there in 14th position, 27.7 currently to his name. But Tom there out on top, a 10th of a second, and that is without slipstream, by the way, as well. No slipstream allowed. It is banned, of course, here in PSGL. So Tom out on top, that just highlights, I think, how strong he is around this track. Of course, qualifying is one thing. The race is a totally different set of rules, totally different set of things to try and get right, and Tom has to be on it, of course, within the race. Race trim, I think, for Tom around here has been strong in the past. He has won a championship around here in the past as well, so I'm not going to gloat whatsoever. I'm not going to show any bias towards the man currently in P1 add-on track. Jensen there in P14 at this moment in time is the only other one, I think, there on a lap. I think Stefano was on a lap. He invalidated, I think, when I turned 23. He was up by 7,000 per second through that middle sector until he did that. He's currently sitting in 7th, the OP man. Jensen now coming through in towards turn 27. The Red Sea underneath the night sky here in Jeddah, looking beautiful, I've got to say. Tom out on top, Keen in second, Max there in third. If you are just tuning in to the stream, Evan Dalton has wrapped up the poll, which I'm glad to report. 63% of you voted yes for Max being on poll, wrapping up the championship tonight, and no, 36% of you. We will see which order is right, and at least it's not like the Brexit vote of 52 to 48. As Jensen now, coming to the right-hand of turn number 2, is just starting up on his run. Tom, Key and Max currently in the top 3, but Jensen has already backed off on his lap. Neither might have got put off by the Haas there, but he might also be going for a second run on those tyres.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a weird one. He kind of went a little bit deep into 1 and 2, and then it kind of compromised his exit, and he had the Haas coming out of the pit lane right beside him, which I don't think really helped. Like you said, the Haas wasn't in the way, but it was maybe a bit of a distraction, so he's backed off before he's really got going on that run, and so the tyres should be fine. Tom is very confident with his lap time. He is out of the session. He has retired in the pit lane, so he is confident that that is the best that he can do in the session. It's up to everybody else to try and beat it. Max can't. Max has not made it back out onto the track in time to go for another run, so championship leader, the best he can start this race is in third, so that'll be Markador's aim now, to try and get ahead of Max in this qualifying session. He's got a target to try and hit. He's only a 10th and a half behind as the current standings are, so he needs to get up to the front. Kian, by the way, has left it very late to come out for his final run. I doubt Kian's going to make it to the line in time, so we'll see what he can do. As the first driver to start their final run, I believe, is going to be Volkongen, who's currently down at the back of the grid, so he really needs to improve on this final run. 27.9, his best run so far. We'll see what he can do through the first sector. That is usually a good tell of people's performance, because it is the most difficult sector to nail, is this first part of the lap as he heads through this first sector now, then coming out of turn number 10 and up towards that first sector split. What is the first sector for the Red Bull driver? It's a 31.8, so it's very, very competitive with what we've seen at the front of the field. He's found 4/10 on his personal best. Can he sustain it for the rest of the lap?
Let's hope so. Oh, very close to the wall, coming out of turn number 13. Slight bit of snap of oversteer there from the Red Bull. Currently sitting in 16th position, 27.9. Now comes to the left-hand return 17, onto the back straight once again, opening up the second DRS zone, which will come in around 100 metres time. Opens it up now on the run now down and towards turns 22 and 23. Tom, Key and Max currently out on top. I think Kian has left a little bit too late. I think he's 5 seconds outside. Maybe upsetting. Volkongen invalidates coming through that middle sector split. So it's unfortunate for him there in 16. Just trying to pick up on who might be next on a lap. I believe it is the Shazoo man of Rick, actually. It's not. It is Stefano or Rowan. One of the two is on a lap, and it's actually Rowan through the middle sector who is next up on a lap. 59.8 in the middle sector as Kian missed the time.
Yeah, Gaines missed the time. First sector for Rome was massive as well with 31.6. That is a massive first sector from the AlphaTauri. So we'll see what he can do. Can he maybe take his first pole of the season potentially in that AlphaTauri as he heads down towards turn 27?
Yeah, Kian unfortunately missing the time. I did say I think he was about 5 seconds outside. Unfortunately, that was the case for Kian, as now Rowan, the OP man, on the run towards the line. Is he going to go in towards the 26s? He does. He goes 26.8 and only 400ths of a second off Tom. Tom might be spreading buckets. Dessa was invalidated coming through the final couple of corners. Marcos is in the middle sector. He's now coming through the DRS detection point there in that middle sector. Stefano Kazizel all on lap times as well, but Marcos 1 minute flat in the middle sector is not too bad. Stefano's down in the middle sector. Kazizel invalidated. Jensen there going 10th. Jeroen also invalidated. Aurelian is going to be next, I think, to come across the line, along with, I think, Rick, who's on the run toward the line as well. He sets 14th and stays there with the same lap time as now Aurelian, the Talent Factory man, on the run toward the line, goes third. Good lap time from him. Marcos now through the final corner, on the run toward the line. Let's see what the Mercedes man can do on the run to the line, and he goes 6th in the end. That is disappointing, but he starts right behind us. Stefano goes 5th, and I don't know how you can fit a 3,000th of a second between Kian and Max. Absolutely eloquently there from Stefano in 5th. Marcos there in 7th, but he's got his main title rifle ahead of him on the 4th row of the grid. Marcos will start, but it is Tom out on top. It's Rowan in 2nd. It's Aurelian there in 3rd. Bit of a turn up for the books. Tom, normally a Saudi Arabian specialist, comes out on top, but Max and Marcos starting beside each other. Oh my god, I am looking forward to this one.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. That is exactly what we want, the two championship protagonists very close together, and of course not right at the front of the field either. They were kind of mired in the mid-pack, so big opportunity here. Now Marcos really has to try and get the hammer down in the early phases and get away from Max. Also great for Tom. He is likely to mention still mathematically within chance of winning this title, so he needs the likes of Max and Marcos to be a bit further down the grid, which is exactly what he's got. Great lap time for Tom in the end. He didn't need that final run, but boy, Rowan got close. That is a brilliant time for Rowan to put it on the front row.
Yeah, definitely. So the former PSGL F2 man there in second. There's Tom Noel on top from Rowan there in second. Rallying there in third. Kian, Stefano, and Max all separated by 6,000ths of a second, believe it or not, for fourth, fifth, and sixth. Marcos in seventh, Dessel there in eighth, Stefano there in ninth, and Kazizel 10th. Jensen there in 11th, respectful lap from him with Euron in 12th. Mubarak there in 13th, Rick in 14th, Namaya in 15th, Volokongan, last week's race winner, starting right at back of the field. We will be taking in our advert as regularly, of course, from our sponsors GT Omega. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Well, that was, of course, our title sponsor, GT Omega, with the Prime cockpit there. And if you are wondering more about GT Omega, you can have a look in the description. You can use PSGL at checkout for 5% off on all GT Omega products. And you can also catch the other big title sponsor, of course, for F122. And that is Grid Rival, of course. And you can join up the Fantasy League that is still ongoing there for Premier Sim. I haven't checked out how I'm doing in the Grid Rival League, so I need to get checking that, I think, after tonight. But, of course, Aiden, we are here for Saudi Arabia. With Max and Markador starting further down the field in 6th and 7th, Tom starting on top, it should make for an interesting race.
Yeah, it definitely should. This race is going to be all about what Marcos can do, really, championship-wise. He needs to get ahead of Max and then get as far up the field as he possibly can. Max needs to try and hold him off. And, of course, they've got 5 cars between themselves and Tom, who is also still in the championship running and has got a great opportunity of trying to claw back some points.
Yeah, definitely so indeed. I'm just letting everyone know in the chat, who are they predicting for the race win? Let me know in the comment section, please. And now we are going to get going here in Saudi Arabia. The 5 red lights are about to come on here for round number 10 of the Champion of the Potential season finale, or the title finale here is underway, and Tom gets a very good start, and Rowan there is alongside him. Radian gets the stronger start, I think, out of the 3. He'll pull alongside, maybe in towards turn number 1, but Tom holds the lead through turn 1. Rowan there in 2nd, Kian there in 3rd, and having to take across the escape, there is Stefano. Max and the Marcados nearly get caught, but a bit of contact they have, and Marcados is in the wall. Marcados is in the wall. Front wing goes flying into the back of Rick there as well. Rick just managed to avoid that, but Marcados' race is over, really, before it's even begun. Contact there, but I think Max coming through turn 3, which is unfortunate for him. There's absolute carnage in the midfield. Desso, Stefanos, Jensen, Mubarak, all side by side. As we now got front wing damage as well for Stefano. He's lost, I think, right side end plate damage on the car left side, in fact, for Stefano. He's letting everyone through. Absolute chaotic start here in Saudi Arabia. Tom leads the way. Rowan in 2nd, Keen in 3rd. Max, the championship leader, gets away with that one, but not before he nearly hemmed Marcados into the wall.
I think he did hand Marcados into the wall. I think there were 3 wide potentially coming through turn number 2. Max went for a move on Stefano at the first corner and sent Stefano off the road, and then coming back onto the track did Max in turn 2, kind of put Marcados in the wall, didn't really give him anywhere to go. They made contact, and unfortunately Marcados lost the rear of the car after that and hit the wall. So yeah, that could be investigated potentially after the race by the stewards, but Marcados with the front wing damage is going to have a safety car to recover in this race, as they're side by side further down the field as they try and get past Stefano here. Here comes the Mayo in P11, Kazizel right behind. Kazizel's had a poor start as well in the other McLaren. Not a great first lap for the 2 McLarens here as they're running 2 by 2 into the one towards turn 27. Volokongan trying to find a way around the outside as well, but can't quite get the move done. Is at the end of the first lap, Tom leads. Rowan though right behind the top 4. After that little bit of contact between our 2 championship protagonists, the top 4 are just starting to stretch away ever so slightly.
Yeah, and I wonder if Max has maybe got a little bit of damage from that as well. Stefanos definitely have. So the 2 Stefanos in the pit lane. Marcados also in the pit lane with front wing damage. All going to be repairing their front wing. Interesting start as well. Mubarak on that set of mediums has gained 6 positions. Absolutely threaded the eye of the needle through the first sector. And he's there in 7th on that set of mediums. Padman there trying to catch up on the back of Veron, who's doing a good job so far in this race. And the Mai was the only other one to start on that set of medium compound tyres. Everyone else in the set of hards, probably the better strategy, I think, hards to mediums around here as well, as Tom sets the purple first sector, leading the way from Rowan there in 2nd, Kian there in 3rd, and Kian, to be honest, 94% of EOS is running low on fuel at this stage. That is a normal thing that you normally see around here in Saudi Arabia. Kian there in 3rd, on the back of Rowan. I've got to be honest, Aiden, at this stage, Kian looks quicker visibly down the straight line than Rowan does, and Rowan could come under pressure sooner rather than later from the back of the Aston Martin.
Yeah, he definitely could. He's looking definitely fast as Kian, of course. Obviously, didn't get out for that final run in qualifying, so we didn't really know the full potential of Kian's qualifying performance. But yeah, he's looking good here in the race so far. Max has re-caught this queue, so by the looks of things, Max seems to have gotten away with that incident fairly unscathed. I don't think there's any damage we can see on that Alfa Romeo, and nothing potentially that is hiding from us. It seems okay. The car seems to be easy to drive, so no problems there for Max. He's up into 5th place. He's closing back in on this train, so not doing too bad of a job as Rowan sets the fastest out. Now Max, now Mubarak on the medium compound tyres, of course. This is very odd, but we've seen a couple of people start on the mediums here. Mubarak is the first and Namaya is the other. Mubarak, of course, trying to gain some places early on. He's done a good job of doing that up to P7 ahead of his teammate and is latching onto the back of this C train. If there is an early safety car, that will play nicely into Mubarak's hands, so we've got to keep an eye on that one, of course, as well. We'll see what they can do, but yeah, top 3 looking pretty decent, all fairly evenly spread. Aurelian in P4, maybe just hanging back a little bit, but not using any of that ERS as all key, and had to run a little bit wider there at turn 10. I think he almost got spun on the curb.
Yeah, he did. Mubarak there as well, right on the back of your own, just in the background of shot there as well. Marcos, by the way, got moved on, and Stefano went towards turn 1 down the straight. The man on that set of soft compound tyre, believe it or not, he's on that set of softs. I think it's the wrong call personally, and he will be going and expecting, I think, the safety car a little bit earlier on in this race, perhaps, as Mubarak all over the back of your own. The FBR man now is going to come under pressure. FBR man, who did say he was looking forward to Saudi Arabia, looking forward to having me on commentary as well, not disowning just there whatsoever with his comments, but your own there in 6th doing a fantastic job. Mubarak there in 7th as well, and he looks to try and get the move done, maybe down in towards turn 27. Here he comes now, the pad man on the back of your own, trying to get the move onto the outside line, maybe to try and figure out a move towards the outside, maybe go to the inside line, but he can't, and Mubarak there has to hang on to the back of your own for now. It is Tom still leads the way, Rowan in 2nd, Kian there in 3rd, and look at that exit there from Mubarak, coming out past him, down the straight, in towards turn 1. It should be pretty easy indeed for Mubarak, and indeed it is. New fastest lap of the race, and he is through, and he's into P6. Nicely done by Mubarak, and that is him on that set of mediums, absolutely thriving on that tyre as well.
Yeah, doing a brilliant job, doing exactly what he needs to do at the start of this race on those tyres, which is just getting through the pack as much as he can. And while he's caught up to this top 7, everybody from 8th down has kind of lost touch with the leaders already, so that's only going to help Mubarak more going further into this race, as if he can gap the rest of those fields and make sure that when he's on the hard compound tyres, he's got enough of a gap. As again, Kian really wide at turn number 10. Really struggling with that corner. I don't know if he's struggling with a curb or whether his tyres are getting hot, but Kian, that's the 2nd lap up in a row he's run wide at turn number 10 now, so he's got to be careful that he of course doesn't do that too often, because someone could report that potentially for track limits violations as well. If he gets no warnings for that and he keeps doing it, that is an opportunity for someone to report him for that as well. So definitely got to keep an eye on that one for Kian. He can't get away with that one too often.
Yeah, definitely not. It's almost as if the floor actually of his car bottoms out on the curb and just catches the little bit that just sticks out on the exit of turn number 10. Just catches that, get bottomed on that curb. And unfortunately, he's done that twice now. And with the rallying in behind watching this, Rowan in front of him watching this as well, he'll be realising, oh right, that's 2 times he's done that. If it's a 3rd time, that's technically track limits, and that could be a 3-second penalty. That could be added on to his time at the end of the race, which will be an avoidance, I'm sure, from Kian, and he can try and clean his act up out of turn number 10, as Mubarak once again is on the back of Max on the run towards turn number 1. He has now pulled away from Rowan. Is he going to look toward the inside line in towards turn number 1? Not quite. Mubarak has used up quite a lot of his battery, only 6% left through turn number 1. Max has got 83% of ERS left, so Max will defend this absolutely until his heart's content. The championship leader currently doing enough as it stands to beat Marcos. Marcos is right on the back of Stefano on the other side of the track, coming through the final corner. In fact, they are. We'll pick them on board with that battle right now. Stefano is under pressure from Marcos. Marcos is through, but he's not in the position changes. He is through and he's into 14th, as that was Max with a mistake.
No, it was Kian doing the exact same thing for the 3rd lap in a row at turn number 10, off the road again, and this time wasn't even caught on the curb. He was just completely off the road this time. He didn't really even catch the end of it. So, yeah, I think Kian here is potentially in a bit of a trouble. He's got to be careful here, because that's 3 laps in a row where he's very clearly run out of turn 10. He's not got a warning for them, because he is obviously without penalty, as Rick is the first driver with a track limits time penalty down in 11th place. So Kian's really pushing his luck here with these penalties, and that's obviously only going to affect him further as this race goes on. Other thing to look at is Mo getting an amazing run on the back of Max, coming out of turn 23. He's right up the back of the Alfa Romeo, who nearly lost it on the curb, but Mubarak's used up all of his ERS. He hasn't got anything left to use down this straight, whereas Max has got enough to defend with, so Mubarak's not going to be close enough into 27. He's going to have to think about the exit. Yeah, Jensen's going for the move down the inside.
Oh, and he's locked up on the brakes. Kian, I think, is going to look at Rowan as well. We'll go for the battle for second. Here is Kian on the outside line and towards turn one. Rowan just nearly coming across there. Slight bit of lag actually between them both. He looks towards the inside line, and Rowan in the end can't get it done on the brakes on Tom. Tom holds the lead. Rowan in second, Kian there in third. And Jensen did get through on Dessel. He did have to power down the straight to try and get the job done. So he's doing that, and he's in 8th position. Dessel there in 9th. Langfell there in the chat, who I know very well actually from TNR and indeed from TML back in the day. He says yo in the chat. Hope he is doing well. Tom Adams top, Rowan in second, Keenan third, lap 6 out of 25 here in PSGL F1. If you are liking the stream, of course, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel. As we see a reposition change further down the field, Stefano is back through and Marcos again. Of course, Marcos is outside the points. At this moment in time, Aiden, Max in 5th position, doing it very easily. Doesn't really need to do much to win the championship, as Kazizel is through on Rick, who has had a moment, I think, coming out of turn 13.
Yeah, that's kind of all he needs to do at the moment is Max is just sit where he is with Marcados out of the points. That is it. That doesn't matter what happens. As if Marcados is out of the points, there's no way he's able to win the championship next time out. So Max is doing all he can at the moment. His actual own worry now though is Tom. Tom, like I mentioned, 26 points off the championship lead. He needs a 10-point swing to put himself back in this championship fight. And as it stands right now, I think if I'm not mistaken, P5 in this race would be 6 points if I'm not mistaken. So that would be the 10-point swing. So if things were to end right now, Max would not win the title because Tom would now be back in championship position, winning position range. So as it stands right now, Max has not got this title sewn up. If he gains one more place and Tom wins, then Max has won the title. So we'll keep an eye on that one as the race goes on. But Tom is getting a little bit more pressure from behind now. Rowan is not using any ERS, but he is clinging onto the back of that Ferrari. And this, obviously, Rowan picked up his first podium last time out in Budapest, but already this has been an incredibly strong showing, and probably a stronger showing than Budapest for Rowan. Rowan kind of got into that position through his strategy. Here at the moment, running on pure pace in second place, right behind Tom, who's won multiple times this season. So Rowan doing a beautiful job in that AlphaTauri in second place. He's really started to pick up momentum at the end of the season, just when he needed it as well. So doing a brilliant job. And Kian has just settled down now with turn 10. That's 2 laps in a row where he's not extended turn 10. So this time around, Kian's not going off the road, and he's managing to keep it within the track limits.
Yeah, we must be on lag back, I think, in his ear, potentially saying, right, if you do that again, you're going to be picking up a penalty. And he is now ironing out those mistakes, of course. They're in 3rd position. Maybe listening to us in the background as well, which I hope he is, because the drivers do find that quite interesting, I think, to hear the commentators in the background and pick up on their mistakes, and they improve lap upon lap. And that is what we like to try and give here in commentary. Tom out on top though, Rowan in second, Kian there in third. Tom is under pressure. He's got 84% of ERS, but Rowan is managing this race actually stunningly well. He's there in second, 3/10 away. He looks quicker down the straight as well on the back of Tom, even without that DRS range. So Rowan doing a fantastic job, and he's got the full battery as well to try and use up on the back of Tom. But what I think is going to happen, up until before the pit stops happen, Mubarak again on the back of Max. I don't think he's going to get close enough with that lack of ERS that he has got the OP man in 6th position. Jensen might, though, on the back of Jeroen. Jeroen covers across the inside line, and Jensen's going to absolutely sail it around the outside line, but again, it goes too deep on the brakes, and in the end, Jeroen leaves him short of room, and unfortunately, Jensen put himself there. So Jeroen there in 7th, Jensen there in 8th, little bit of contact, nothing more, nothing less, and Jeroen there hanging on to position with Jensen there in behind in 8th position, doing a good job. But back to Rowan, he's doing a fantastic job. This is probably the best I think I've ever seen Rowan drive, actually, and Kian has done that again in the background of shot coming out. It's just a thing to watch out for us in commentary. It's the 4th time now I think he's done that, so Kian does need to iron out those mistakes. Clearly not listening to us in the commentary box, but Tom leads the way, Rowan in 2nd, Kian there in 3rd, and Rowan doing a fantastic job. 98% of the ERS. He's running low on fuel compared to Tom. Wouldn't worry about that whatsoever. But the thing is now, Max and Mubarak are beginning to get onto this train. Aurelian could be the big split potentially if everyone uses up their ERS, and down the straight that might be the case, because Aurelian is just losing 7/10 of a second now, coming through turn 26 and 22 and 23 even. Tom, Rowan and Kian. Kian again on the back. Is he going to look for lunch into turn 27?
Yeah, he's looking for the move. He's got a great run down towards the corner. Rowan's having to use his ERS, and Rowan's going to have to go for the move on Tom at the same time to try and defend, but Rowan's completely missed the corner at 27 and has gone very wide. Kian's down the inside. Rowan's going to get a better run on the exit of the corner. They are wheel banging down the straight, but Rowan seems to have Kian seems to have a really good car in a straight line. He's got the inside line. Rowan didn't get DRS actually down that straight either, so down into the braking side they go. Kian is doing up into 2nd place. In the background as well, Jensen and Jeroen continue their fight. Jensen now up into 7th place. He's continuing his march forward in this race up into the top 7 now. Is the Ferrari? Can he maybe latch onto the back of this top 6 train and get himself in the fight, potentially for some points later on in this race? Of course, Ferrari at the moment are still in the fight for the manufacturer's title. Was Kian 3-second time penalty? So finally those extensions have come to bite him. He is the first of our front runners in this race to get that 3-second time penalty, and that could have come much earlier with all the extensions he's had, but he's gotten away with them. I actually looked in the race director during all of that. Of the 4 times that he went off the road, only 1 of them was penalised. So yeah, he's taken some liberties, but the liberties have come back to bite him. But Tom makes a mistake at the chicane. Yeah, too close to the wall when Kian's going to breeze past here. DRS zone, of course, all the way down towards turn 22. But no need to use DRS. Kian is through. Tom, with that little mistake, has dropped back behind the Aston Martin.
Yeah, and actually, I think that'll work better to Tom's favour, because Tom is now going to be the attacker rather than the defender. And now he can attack him once again into turn 27. Rowan right on the back of this as well. And Rowan's going to get a phenomenal run actually on the back of Tom. We'll take the timing tower off on the left-hand side, but it's 3 wide and towards turn 27. Rowan tries to go all the way around the outside of both of them. Aston Martin and the Ferrari nearly collide on the exit of turn 27. Rowan a bit sketchy on the exit there as well. And it's still Tom that leads the way. But here comes the Aston Martin once again of Kian, trying to look for the move in towards turn number 1. The Ferrari there just about hanging on the Aston Martin on the back, and Rowan has to force the move to the inside line. A little bit late on the brakes there from the Dutchman, but he can't get the move done on the back of the Aston Martin. Again through turn number 3, tries to get the job done, but all of this has let Tom now get away. Tom back in the lead of the race, and all of that, as I'll say, has worked out absolutely perfectly from Tom's perspective. 7 tenths of the gap. He could now exploit Kian, maybe put the pressure on him and try and catch him back up.
Yeah, he definitely could. I think actually that little mistake that Tom made on the previous lap was actually a blessing in disguise, because he ended up in the 2 DRS zones and was able to repass. So yeah, brilliant stuff there from Tom. Great racecraft. He's back into the lead of the race. Kian down to 2nd. Rowan now running in 3rd position. Aurelian kind of just sat back and watched that.
Oh no! Kazizl and Dessel, sorry to cut you off. Kazizl was looking to the inside line there. There was hardly a gap, to be honest, from the McLaren. He's gone and escaped up the road. Dessel there spun. A little bit of hitbox contact, I think, there. Dessel there down in 13th. And Kazizl, if he wants to sort that one out before the stewards, I think he just let Rick go and let him back through.
Yeah, potentially that might be the right way to go about it. But yeah, that was unfortunate because there's just the contact there, front wheel to rear wheel. It's going to really easily spin these cars, of course, with the weight that they've got in the back of them. It's just like a pendulum. As soon as you put any sort of weight on the rear of that car, it's going to spin around. So yeah, unfortunate contact for them there. They've dropped down. That puts Volokonga now into the points. So Volokonga able to get benefit from that. I don't know if Yaron has got some damage that we can't see, but he is plummeting like a stone at the moment. That car seems very understeery. He's all over the road at the moment. As we've got our first pit stop, as Mubarak is in off of his medium compact tires, then Maya's in as well, of course, off his, and Yaron is in off the hards, which definitely suggests to me that Alpine has got some damage on that car as he heads into the pit lane, and there is a change of front wing. So yeah, Yaron's damaged that front wing somewhere on the lap. He is in to get rid of that and change the front wing, which is why he was dropping like a stone. Meanwhile, that fight at the front of the field, that held up that train, and that has paid beautifully into the hands of Jensen, because Jensen's now into this battle for the lead. So the top 6 now all fighting for the lead of this race. Good stuff there from Jensen. He's slowly but methodically worked his way through the field, and he's done so very cleanly, and he's now right in the fight for this win along with his teammate.
He is. Jensen has said to me in the past as well, whenever I commentate, he seems to do better. So here he is. He's in 6th position. I'm commentating for F1, and he's doing a fantastic job. And to be fair, he's on the back of the championship leader in Max. And the way this could play out, Ferrari could get a little bit tactical, I think, here. Tom obviously out in the lead. Jensen now in 6th position. Now, taking it too tactical, I think will be completely different. Jensen and Tom have done something like this in the past. I remember Singapore, actually, TML last season, where they tried to actually hold up. It was in the EML. It's actually Thomas made a mistake out of turns 22 and 23. I'll come back to that point in a second as Kian is on the back of him, maybe to try and force the move and maybe get forced into the lead here. But they don't want to overtake each other because they know who's going to have the advantage. It'll be the man in behind. And Kian smartly has actually backed off that, and he's going to try and use up that DRS now in towards turn 1. But we should see the pit stops begin to happen. And Kian literally shot out of a cannon, passing him to the inside line in towards turn number 1. And that is job done for Kian surely in towards turn 1. Kian is through, and he's ahead of Tom now in 2nd. Rowan there in 3rd. But the main things are Aurelian, Jensen, Max, Kazizl and Rick all into the pit lane. Set of medium compound tyres are on. And I literally said about 10 seconds before that the pit stops could come soon, and they have.
Yeah, they definitely have. Smart move there from those three drivers. I think they saw the top leaders all fighting with one another and thought, we'll get out of this chain while they fight. They can lose time and we can gain. But look at Mubarak on the fresh set of hard compound tyres has ended up ahead of Max. So that's worked out quite nice for him. Of course, his tyres are not going to be as fast as the mediums now, though. So he will just be a sitting duck, you would imagine, in these tyres. He's got the hard tyres up to temperature, though. So he's going to be right on the back of Aurelian. But that puts him ahead of Max now in the standing order. So overall, that's a net fifth for Mubarak. A reminder to everybody watching, Mubarak is the only driver here running on a pad, so he's doing a brilliant job at the moment in P7. Around a track like Jeddah, running on a pad is far from optimal when he's doing a brilliant job at the moment. But yeah, being on the hards now is because obviously the delta between the hard and the mediums in terms of wear is very small around here. The mediums can do a good distance of this race at good speed. You can't get that advantage in the second half of the race. You can pit for the hards here, but you can pit for the mediums a lap later and still come out
oh my word,
right behind. There's all more fighting at the front of the field. Look at Tom go round the outside of turn 26. Rowan's going to try and get the move done at the same time as well around the outside. Are they all going to come into the pit lane though? They've got to sort themselves out if they are all coming in as they come towards the pit lane now. Tom is into the pit lane, Keane's in, Rowan is in as well, but I fear they've been fighting each other so much that they've lost time. And Rowan hit the back of Keane on the way into the pit lane. Keane gets away without any speeding penalty, but I wonder if Rowan's damaged his front wing.
I think he might have done. Rowan into the pit lane. There is no visible front wing change. So if there is damage, he's going to have to cope with it for at least one more lap. He's just rear-ended the back row of Keane into the pit lane. Here is Mubarak, by the way, on the back of Aurelian. And look at where these guys are. They're actually going to come out pretty much in the lead of the race here. There is Aurelian in the lead of the race from Tom in second. Mubarak there in third. The undercut has worked absolute wonders around here in Saudi Arabia. And this race has just suddenly spawned into life. And we're going pretty much 100 miles an hour to the absolute limit for the rest of this race. It's Aurelian that leads the way, Tom in second, and Tom has to get those tyres right up to temperature. The talent factory man, the former blood man of the Shazoo team of Aurelian, is now 8/10 up the road. Tom there in second, Mubarak there in third, Max there in fourth, Jensen on the back of Keane into the inside of turn 13, tries to get the job done to the inside line, and the Ferrari is through. So the guys on that set of mediums who have currently got the tyres up to temperature, working absolutely miracles on those tyres. Jensen Thuney's into fifth. Keane, who was second, is now back down in sixth. And Aurelian now has escaped up the road by a second. And all of a sudden, it has just literally changed in swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, swings and roundabouts. Here comes Kaziza one Rowan for P7 on the road. I'm on board with that AlphaTauri. I do think that AlphaTauri's got damage. He is understeering quite badly. I don't think that's just tyre temperature. Yeah, there is definitely damage on the front wing of that AlphaTauri. That is such a shame, running such a strong race. But yeah, too hot into the pit lane, ran straight into the back of Key. And as Max and Mubarak now going side by side for third place, and Max is through into third position. That is crucial to his championship that he got that move done. He's now directly behind Tom on the road. As it stands right now, if the race were to finish, Max would be crowned champion. Tom is not doing enough to gain back into that 16-point advantage. And Markadov still stranded at the back of the field, unfortunately, as Kazizel sets the fastest out. Keane trying to get back past Jensen into turn one. Not close enough to get the move done, but the top six are back queued up behind one another once again, but this time in a completely different order. Aurelian all of a sudden running fourth, now leads the race. Tom now into second, Max up to third. Mubarak in fourth on those hard compound tyres, doing a decent job, but surely it's only a matter of time before he starts to plummet through his train. And as I say, that has a massive snap of oversteer through turn 7. He just caught it, but that was a huge snap, and that has separated the top three from the rest of them. Jensen's surely going to get the move done on Mubarak as soon as he possibly can. He can't do it into the hairpin of turn number 13. But yeah, Mubarak's hards are already starting to pay the price against the mediums. You can see Jensen's just got so much more grip than the Haas. He can't find a way through up towards the chicane of 16 and 17, but he's got his first DRS opportunity here, and Mubarak's actually hit the wall on the inside of 16. That's only going to compound things further. Yeah, Jensen's got such a run out of 17. There's no way the Haas is going to defend it, and here comes Keane at the same time.
Yeah, Keane could get them both actually in towards 22 and 23. He's right on the back of Jensen. He's not going to risk it down the inside here because it's just frankly suicide if he wants to try and put his front wing down the inside of the Ferrari there. But he is on the back now in towards turn 27, and he's absolutely going to fly on by. But Jensen just comes across on him slightly. I think that was more reactionary from Keane rather than anything else. Keane now back through and he's into fourth, does manage the move. Jensen, to be fair, I think realised what happened there and he just let him go. So Keane there into fourth, Jensen there in fifth, and now Tom's on the back of a rally, and the former bloodline members of Shazoo go down in towards turn 1, line astern, and Tom takes the lead once again from Aurelian in second, Max there in third. We've still got 11 laps of this. Goodness me, this race is going to be good. Keane in fourth, Jensen there in fifth, and I think Bola Kongan's also just got the job done on Kazizel down in towards turn 1. Rick around the outside of turn number 1 under Maya. Great move from him. He's up into ninth. All happening up and down the field. Tom now leads, Aurelian in second, Max in third. and Shizou have got talent factory where they wanted them, I think, at this stage, if this was a team event. Aureli and Max and Kian all splitting in the filling of a sandwich, basically, between Jensen and Tom, as Rowan has retired into the pit lane, must have picked up pumming damage again, and he has retired out of the pit lane, and he is the first retirement, to be honest, on, what, lap 15. Very, very fair play to him for continuing on. Obviously, that damage was too enough. The mentality as well from Rowan, just giving up. Unfortunate for him. We understand that as well, what us being drivers in the past. And Rowan out of the race, but it's taken until lap 15 for retirement, which I think is absolutely admirable.
Yeah, I'm definitely surprised that we've gone 15 laps with no retirement at a track like Jeddah. That's been a pretty good race so far. But yeah, for Ryan, that is such a shame. Running so well, right in the shot for a potential first win on the cards. But yeah, fallen apart completely for him, and sadly, so he's out of the race, sadly. And yeah, that is the race over and done with. So he is out in the pit lane. That is not the safety car coming out for that one that Marcados needed. Down in 14th at the moment. His championship, as it stands right now, is completely over and done with, and he will fall behind Tom, back down to 3rd in the standings as it stands right now. So Marcados is hoping desperately for that safety car. Here comes Kian on the back of his Talent Factory teammate Max. He's thinking about a move into turn 1, but he's not close enough. He'll sit in 4th for the time being. Jensen's right back on this train, and having been overtaken and passed left, right and centre, Mubarak is just trying to cling on to the top 5, but he's got no ERS ready to fight with. Fair play though, you've got to say, to Volokongan. He's had a great comeback through the field. Started on the back row of the grid, did the Red Bull driver, remember, very back of the grid. In fact, I think he started last, did Volokongan in this race. He's up to 7th. He's all made his way through over half of the field. He's onto the back of Mubarak, and if he can get past Mubarak quickly enough with the help of DRS, there's definitely an opportunity for Volokongan to be in this fight with the top 5 here. So Volokongan is still on for a potential top 5 in this race, maybe even a shot of a podium if he can get past the Haas quickly enough. So Volokongan doing a brilliant job, and is dragging Kazizel with him.
Yeah, and knowing the top 5 as well, it's going to get tactical between that top 5. So this is going to really help out, as you mentioned, Volokongan, Kazizel, Nemaya even, and Rick could even get into this as well. So it could really be a 10-car train for the lead if these gaps do close up. Kian there on the back of Max once again, in towards the right hand of 22 and 23. Tom there leading the way, now putting the gap out to 7/10 of a second. Aurelian all of a sudden beginning to struggle, and Max with the purple middle sector is right on the back of him in towards turn 27. The championship leader currently with one hand on the trophy, one proverbial hand on the trophy as it stands. He's there in 3rd doing a fantastic job. Kian there in 4th, Jensen there in 5th, and now Kian has got the run again on the back of Max. But because they're so close-knit, they don't want to go for moves in towards turn 1. Saying that, though, I think Aurelian might on the back of Tom, but I knew him too well. He was never going to go for that. Volokongan does, though, straight down the outside line at turn 1 on Mubarak, and he is through, and he's into 6th position. And Volokongan, he's one of these drivers where, when he is on his day, he is probably one of the best, I think, in the field. The TNR man doing a fantastic job, picking up that race win in Hungary. And it's almost as if a light switch has been flicked on. He picked up, 2nd position, I think, a couple of rounds ago as well. So Volokongan, this second half of the season has been much stronger than his first. He's coming alive now in Saudi Arabia, a track he's won at before. Volokongan might be the man to watch out for, certainly in all of this as well. Kazizel is weaving at Mubarak, maybe to say, just get out the way, man. You're on a pad, you're on a set of hards, just let me through and we can catch the rest of them.
Yeah, he's definitely getting a bit impatient now, because we can see Volokonga disappearing up the road, and he wants to follow the Red Bull through on the Haas, but he's caught the Haas at the wrong point on the track to really be able to do that. And obviously not ideal to get the route done into turn 22, because he's then got another DRS straight, but Mubarak has kind of given that one up, because this was going to get through. He should get up into 7th place, but Mubarak will have the DRS back on him on the run down towards 27, so because this is going to keep that in the back of his mind as he comes out of this chicane right now. Volokongan is within DRS range. He's used a lot of his ERS to get there, but now that he's in the train, he can sit at the back of the train and save up some ERS for an attack later. So great driving for Volokongan. This first season for Volokongan in F1 kind of reminded me a lot of Marcados' first season in F1. Really struggled in the first half of the season, didn't really have a lot of pace, couldn't quite fight at the front of the field, and then got that one good performance on the board, and then from there, like you say, a light switch has been turned on, and all of a sudden the confidence is through the roof, and he's really starting to put in some good performances. So yeah, that first win for Volokongan, Kazizel gets the move done down the inside of the motorbike from a mile back on the brakes, but he gets the move done. Kazizel was up into 7th place, but he has got a mountain to climb if he wants to try and catch this top 6 now.
And if you wanted the difference between wheel and pad, that's how late you can brake on a wheel compared to on a pad. Kazizel through and he's into 7th, Mubarak there in 8th. Mubarak had that move done. Pretty much 90% of that move was done. Kazizel had enough of the car alongside, though, to absolutely send it to the inside line. Brilliant move by Kazizel. He's there in 7th position. Kian there as well on the back of Max there in 4th. Jensen there in 5th. Jensen's looking actually pretty good in terms of his ERS. 59% of ERS coming out of turn 13. Tom still leading the way, rallying there in second, Max there in third. Hope you're all doing well in the chat. A little bit quiet tonight in the chat. Hopefully you're just absolutely enjoying this race, as we are. Beautiful helicopter cam as well as we now come to the middle sector. There is a yellow flag, the first one of the night, and that is Stefano out of the race, coming out of turn 13. Is that going to be a safety car? It's a very weird place to actually crash. I think that might be off track more than anything else, and according to the non-existent track limits do there. His car has been recovered in about the fastest time as I think a car has ever been recovered on this game, and we've got no safety car. So that means for Marcos, for Stefano and Yaron, unfortunately, you can't catch a break tonight.
Yeah, they can't catch a break. That was probably the best chance we would have had of a safety car tonight. And no, it has not happened. I think Marcos is probably screaming at his TV as, oh my word, Kian almost went straight into the back of Max into turn one. Is further down the field. Rick has got them moved on Mubarak, and Rick is now up into 8th place. Silent but good race here from Rick. Rick has struggled so far this season. Really hasn't had the pace all season long. Hasn't been able to score good points. As it stands right now, I think Rick right down at the bottom end of the standings. He is the lowest placed full-time driver in our standings at the moment. Currently 23rd with only 2 points to his name. So having a good drive tonight. Same with Mubarak as well. Obviously running on pad. He is down at the back of the field in terms of full-time driver points as well. So they're both in the points for the first time in a while here tonight, doing a good job, are the two drivers there. But Mubarak's next challenge is Namaya, who Namaya seems to be taken to these hards a lot better than Mubarak did. Mubarak was very fast in the mediums at the start, but ever since he's put the hards on, he's just kind of fallen through the field. And now Namaya, on the same strategy, has managed to catch the Haas and is in a fight for 9th place. So that'll be the fight for the minor points paying positions. Deso is just attached from this train, but he's got fresher tyres than the drivers in front, and of course is on the medium, so he is still within a shot of taking the point, potentially off his teammate here in this race. As I feel like at the front of the field, it's just a sit and wait, and then we get to maybe lap 21, 22. We're going to start seeing people go for moves, trying to work their way through the train, trying to see if they can work their way forwards. You said it before the stream tonight, and you said it a couple of times already, but I've got my eye on Jensen in this train. You can kind of tell he's just sat in 5th, waiting for something to happen. And if nothing happens by the time we get to lap 22, 23, he is going to have to be the one that starts making things happen. So we'll see what he can do. Kian again. I think you can tell Kian is really fast in 4th place. You could probably see him fighting for the win, but the fact that he has got 2 Talent Factory drivers in front of him, one of them being a championship protagonist, the championship leader, and he's got a 3-second penalty, is really holding Kian back from fighting for this win. And I think he's reluctant to really go for the move on Max, knowing potentially there's a championship line on the Alfa Romeo, and he doesn't want to make any sort of mistake or any hash of it and potentially put his Talent Factory teammate in the wall. So Kian is kind of sitting back and waiting. Is Max a little bit wide there at turn 10? So potentially some track limits, things to think about for Max. But I've just looked at Max's ERS usage. That is such a shame. Just as we were talking about Rick having a good night, Rick has spun and he's out of the points.
Yeah, and I have a feeling he's got caught on the curb coming out of turn number 11. That's so unfortunate for Rick. He's there in 11th. I think he's avoided damage. If there's any damage, I think it's more on the rear wing than anything else, and on the backside of the car. And with that slide, it might just be the heavy hint of the tyres. But with that slide, it might be the curtain down on his race here tonight. He's out of the points now in 11th. Kian, though, on the back of Max once again. Yeah, Kian has been, I said it, I think lap 3, lap 4, he had much more straight line speed compared to everyone else around him. That is now absolutely clear because he's on the back of Max, championship leader. And if he wasn't there, I get the sense that Kian, if Talent Factory weren't having a real grasp, I think, on this race, and they were fighting for more individuality, I think Kian would actually go for this move on the back of Max. And he could be the real spark that really matches, I think, and lights the match and lights the fuse in what is going to be a great final couple of laps. And back there, dropping down behind Namaya now, and I think that's a bit of front wing as well. From the right side end plate damage of Mubarak, it is right side end plate damage on the car. I didn't see things there. Right side plate damage in towards turn 1. Wonder if Namaya actually got the move done and then cut him short down the straight, perhaps. But regardless, Mubarak in the wall, down a straight. Very, very peculiar incident. Right side end plate damage on the car, and I thought he had damage just before that, and I was going to say I thought he had damage. He definitely has damage now, and he's down in 9th position. But the good thing is, Rick spun, and he's now, 7 seconds clear of him? I think he'll get to the end ahead of him.
Yeah, you should potentially get to the end of this race ahead of Rick. And Rick, of course, has got a 3-second time penalty to his name as well. So if Mubarak can just hold on to this car and not keep it out of the wall, he should still get a point from this race. But his teammate is right behind him now, and he's not going to want to hold his teammate up. Deso still has a chance of getting 8th in this race if he can get up to Namaya. So Deso, you would imagine, should get this move done easily, and he does so through the S section on the way up towards 22. Deso's got the move done. He's up into 9th place. So both Haas cars in the points, I think for the first time potentially this season at the same event. So not doing too badly, these two tonight, despite the damage and the fall through the field, sadly on the wrong strategy for Mo Barrack. But 4 laps to go when we cross the line. 4 laps for Max to potentially take the championship here. Of course, it's not over until it's over. There is still every opportunity that Max could throw this away. But if Tom wins this race, Max has to finish 4th to win the title. If he finishes 5th, Tom ends up 16 points behind, and that is enough for Tom to still be in with a mathematical chance of winning next time out, as Markados has retired out on track.
Ooh.
That is actually Markados is out of the race. Full safety car. Wow. Okay. Full safety car is out for Markados' crash. That is not what Markados needed. Markados needed the title, needed the safety car to go in his favour. It's not. It's because he's in the wall coming out of 23, which is so easy to do on the exit of that chicane. But yeah, that is officially Markados out of this championship now, which is such a shame. He'd had such a good run of performances. He managed to get his first win only a couple rounds ago. Was potentially cruelly denied of picking up some points last time out in Budapest with some bad luck. And yeah, out of the race today, Markados' championship is over and done with, and that is a sad way for it to end.
Yeah, he is going to be absolutely fuming with that incident as well. It's caused a safety car out on track, and now we are going to have the elimination of DRS towards the end of the race as well, because the safety car, once they pick them up, it's only going to be, I think, a 1-lap safety car, which means we're going to get going on to lap 24. We might even get going on the final lap of the race. Who knows what is going to happen? And as I said in the chat there, Black Box was being a little bit cocky, I've got to say, in the chat, saying, acknowledge your champion, TF Max Cross. And I replied saying, it's not over until the final lap. Now we've got a safety car. Who's laughing now, Black Box? It is not over until the final lap of the race. Max there in 3rd is doing a fantastic job, but everything is going to kick off big time, and I can't wait for this race to finish, because I know for a fine fact we could be crowning well a champion. But this could end up as well being really bad for Max, because if Kian has got that straight line speed and he attacks him, everyone's playing the chicken game, I think, into the pit lane, and that is Jensen in the pits. Jensen is into the pit lane from P5. Kazizel also into the pit lane. Nemaya stays out. Deso and Mubarak are both in, and the Hasses are going to double stack, and that is appallingly bad from the Hasses' perspective. Jensen on that set of softs. Kazizel on that set of softs. Rick is also in the pit lane. So Jensen and Kazizel, 7th and 8th position, set of soft compound tyres. Everyone else in behind will also go for a set of soft compound tyres. Jensen and Kazizel, if they were further up the field, I would have given them a chance potentially for the race win. They're going to be on much fresher tyres. Who knows what they can do on these final 2 laps now?
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of potential here for these soft runners. Their big problem, though, is Nemaya staying out on those hards. I'm kind of baffled as to why Nemaya has stayed out on the hard compound tyre. They're clearly the slowest tyre here at the moment. They're not the tyre to be on. So why he's decided to stay out, I'm not quite sure. He definitely should have put himself on the softs. He was running in 8th. He would have still been 8th in this race had he pitted for those softs. So yeah, I'm not quite sure of that call there from Nemaya to stay out. But yeah, Jensen, big opportunity here. He was 5th before this. He's lost 2 places, so he could easily gain those 2 back. And obviously, he's still within penalty range of Kian. So yeah, good opportunity here for Jensen as Jeroen's managed to pick up a time penalty for corner cutting coming out of the pit lane. I thought they got rid of that issue with the pit lane exit, but apparently not, unless Jeroen did just completely cut the exit of the pit lane. Didn't quite see that, but yeah, Jeroen with a 3-second penalty, which is kind of, at the moment, capping off what's been a pretty appalling race, sadly, for Jeroen tonight, ever since he got that damage early on. So just hasn't been able to recover, sadly. So yeah, big opportunity here for Jensen. It's all about these final few laps for him, whether he can get back up to the lead of this race. It hasn't said safety car in this lap, so is it coming in this lap, or is it going to stay out? No, it's just called in a bit late. It's gone a bit late, but the safety car is in this lap. So 2 laps, no DRS. Let's see what Jensen could do. Can he get into the fight for the podium? And for his sake and his teammates' sake, can he get ahead of Max and keep Tom in the championship fight?
Yeah, this could be perfect, I think, from a Ferrari standpoint as well. This is going to be absolutely brilliant. 2 laps of good old-fashioned Formula 1 racing. No DRS, well, they can use up ERS, of course, but no DRS. So this is old-school fashioned Formula 1, plus the ERS management system included in that as well. As now Tom comes out the final corner, him being the virtual manager. This is going to be a bit of like a Magello sort of style start, I think, from Tom. And is he going to slide his way through? Yes, he is. He now gets back underway, and Jensen's right on the back already in the mire. In towards turn 1 in the background of shot, and he looks to try and get around the outside, maybe on this sort of hard compound ties. He's got to be wary though, and he's actually nearly in the wall. Hits the right side of the wall. Jensen just about gets away with it. Everyone in behind has made mistakes in behind, so Jensen's very, very lucky to get away with that. But a rally in the side by side with Tom in toward the left-hand return number 4. Tries to get the job done, but he doesn't. Tom leads the way. A rally in there in second. Max there in third. Kian there in fourth. Volakonga there in fifth. Dessel now the one is on that set of soft, and Jensen's rear-ending them up to try and get the move on there through the middle sector. Coming through there towards the middle sector now is Dessel. Needed left shoulder room by Nemaya on the exit. Dessel shooting through here on the back, and Nemaya in toward the left-hand of turn 13. Nemaya's gone deep as well. This is surely Jensen up the inside curve at turn 13 as well. Nemaya forced out wide because Zizzle's going to be side by side as well. And this is all kicking off, believe it or not, in the mid-pack. And Tom is absolutely stealing the way out in front. It's 8/10 of a second from Aurelian in second. Max there in third. As it stands, Max will be crowned champion, but it's Desso and Jensen that we've got to watch out for, because Desso is carving his way through a field like a knife through butter.
Yeah, where has Desso come from in this race? That first corner incident was actually Kazizel rear-ending his Shazoo teammate into turn 1, which is why Jensen missed the corner in the end. But Desso trying to get the move on Volakonga now, couldn't get the move done into 22. Can he get the move maybe on the brakes into 27? He will have a better braking zone on those soft compound tyres. Can he get the move done down the inside of the Red Bull? He's not close enough, and Volakonga though runs a little bit deep. Desso could get a good run on the exit of the corner on the run towards turn number 1. He's got to make sure he's got enough ERS to fight with at the end of the straight as he comes down the straight now. Desso in the wheel tracks of that Red Bull. He should have enough of a run to potentially dive to the inside line here on the Red Bull in the braking zone. He's going to look to the inside, but again, he's not close enough. He's just fading back. We're onto the lap. He's not doing enough, and oh, he's been hit from behind. Jensen has spun him round. Jensen spun at the same time as well, just too eager on the throttle midway through the corner. Mubarak has lost his front wing and all of that carnage, and now all of a sudden Kazizel is up into sixth. But yeah, the soft runners were too focused on each other to work their way forwards.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. You're on as well with a 3-second penalty. I think Nemaya picked up damage and all of that as well, but Tom has absolutely stolen away with this race. The F1 Esports Challengers man leads the other F1 Esports Challengers man in second of Aurelian. In second, Max there in third, Keen there in fourth. That yellow flag is for Jensen, who for straightening these out of the race. He is going to be absolutely fuming from what could have been a potential podium in this race. He's now down and unlucky for some 13th position, but Tom has looked absolutely brilliant this race. He now 1.1 second clear of Aurelian, but this battle now is going to come between Max and Aurelian, and at this stage, Max is going to be crowned champion unless Kian has something to say about that to maybe just lose the position to him. But with that 3-second penalty, it's going to be enough for Max to wrap up the title here. Unfortunately for Jess, she's not going to be commentating on the season finale next week with a championship on the line. Kian is coming back at Max, though, in towards the left-hand return 27. It might actually risk it around the outside, and he does. Kian tries to go all the way around the outside on Max. It's going to be a drag race to the line from here on in. But Tom now, the Shazoo man, on the run to the line, dominant in Saudi Arabia, takes the race win. Aurelian in second, and Max just barely hangs on for third on Kian. 300th of a second, I think, between them both at the line. Volakonga in fourth, a great race from him, because this is there in fifth. Kian there down in seventh. Tom takes the win now in Saudi Arabia. We'll wait for Jensen to come across time with no front wing. But Tom takes the win. Aurelian in second. But that man in third position has done enough. It is Talent Factory Max who takes the championship here in Saudi Arabia. Already leaves the session in absolute disgust of his third position here tonight. But Max is your season 33 PSF1 champion. And the way he approached that race, Aiden, no wonder he is a champion as Volakonga gets drive of the day.
Yeah, no surprise there. That is exactly why Max is the champion. When he's not able to win the race, he just picks up solid points, and that is exactly what he did today. Brilliant stuff from Max there. He's been so supreme all season long. It's looked close at points. At points, he's lost. He's been caught by Tom at points. He's been caught by Markados at points in the championship. But every time Markados and Tom came at him, Max had an answer, and Max tonight, brilliant job from him. It all came undone for Markados at the very first corner. Just contact with Max at the start of the race. We'll see if anything comes of that one. But if I'm completely honest, I think that would just be a turn 1 kind of incident. I don't really see how Max will be penalised for that one. Markados out of the race. Tom did everything he could in his power. He won the race. That's all he needed to do. But Max did enough to hold on to that championship win. And yeah, what a brilliant season it's been for Max to jump from F3, completely skip F2, go into F1 and win on his first time of asking. That is an incredible season performance from Max, and he can go into Brazil with his head held high, and he can potentially round off what's been an amazing season with a great performance next time out for for Jess when she returns. But yeah, that was an amazing race tonight. Unfortunately, the championship was a little bit of a the championship fight itself was maybe a little bit of an anticlimax with Markados not really able to fight tonight. But either way, what a performance for Max all season long and tonight as well. Kept it a level head, and that's all he needed to do to win the championship.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, don't take anything away from Tom in this race either. I mean, we've had a less than a 40-minute race around here, and Tom probably has barely broken a sweat to take that race win, but he takes the race win regardless. Aurelian there in second, Max there in third, Tom is just in a different league. Max there, though, is your Season 33 champion. We will be speaking to all three, I believe, of our podium sitters, which is fantastic. Hopefully there's going to be no connection interruptions or whatever with that. Volakongen, 16th up to 4th, worthy candidate for driver of the day. Definitely, the Norwegian did a fantastic job. And again, it's like that light switch has literally flicked on in his brain, thinking, right, let's get on with this. Final couple of races of the season. I want to prove myself with a seat for PSF1 next season. On to the next game, of course, on F1 23, and he is doing that. Kazizel there in 5th, solid drive from him, nearly latching on towards the podium setters at the end of the race as well. Stefano there in 6th, Kian, who was 3rd across the line in the end, finishing down in 7th, Nemaya there in 8th, Brick there in 9th, Mubarak ran off the top 10, and actually the only padman to get a point. Pretty respectful around this track, certainly. Dessel there in 11th, Jeroen there in 12th. He can well and truly forget about that race. He did stake the fastest lap point, however, so that is something to write home about for him. Jensen there in 13th, and Markados, Stefano, and Rowan, the 3 DNFs out on track. And Rowan, what could have been for him? Down in 16th position. He was running in the good podium sitters. He was 2nd and 3rd pretty much for most of the race until he had that spin, until he had that damage, and unfortunately he is down at the back of the field, as we are now gonna get in our top 3. Hopefully this will work. Hopefully Aurelian doesn't have any issues like last week, but we will get them in one by one for the interviews. Bear with me if my CPU breaks or anything like that. But what we will do is, of course, speak to the guys here in the party. We've got 2 out of the top 3 here, so we'll make a start in the interviews. And, of course, it is Mr. Shazoo Tom who takes the race win here in Saudi Arabia. And, Tom, I mentioned to Aiden before we came live, you were one of the men to watch around this track. You take the race win in Saudi Arabia and prove me completely right.
Yeah, I do quite like this track, yeah. Bodes well for me, clearly. And I didn't bottle quali, so that, carries into the race, and then it just didn't go wrong. That's all I can say.
It didn't go wrong. Yeah, you looked honestly quite dominant at part of that race as well. It was probably far from it because you were always within that second gap. You made a couple of mistakes as well in the midpoint of that race just before the safety car came out. And you must have been feeling the threat from the Talent Factory guys because you thought, well, I've got a rally in them behind me. I've got Maxim behind, 2 really quick drivers. Were you thinking that they were going to go for overtakes in that race?
Well, obviously in the first stint, they both kept coming at me, and I knew I could get overtaken by one of them, but if both of them came at the same time, whether it P2 and P3, if both of them came at the same time, that's when I had to defend. And I think Aurelian was never really that close for Max to them try and double overtake me or anything. It was only Kian who was pushing in the first stint. But yeah, I didn't push because Aurelian was quite slow in the first sector. I don't know what that was to do with. Could be to do with anything, if he had warnings or something like that. But yeah, so I was able to keep quite far ahead, and I wanted to keep him in DRS because at Max, I didn't know whether he was rapid or not. He could have overtaken, so I was definitely on my toes the whole race. But yeah, I was in control, I'd say.
Yeah, you certainly seemed in control as well. And right up until that safety car period, you were in control. With that safety car period coming out, do you feel it was more of a hindrance to your strategy, or were you always going to go to the end of the race anyways on those tyres?
I mean, in terms of ERS, I think I had a full battery, so it kind of maybe helped Aurelian, but at the same time, it also took away the DRS on the last lap, so it was just down to me burning it all in the last 2 laps. So it probably just gifted me the win in terms of not having to fight on the last lap. But yeah, we'll never know, to be honest. Hopefully I would have won anyway if there wasn't a safety car.
Yeah, we will never know. It's one of life's greatest mysteries. We will never know what might have happened if that race was a little bit longer or whatever. Mr. Aiden Carter, any questions?
Well, it's hard to say. It's hard to really know what to add. Well, congratulations, Tom, on another win this season. Obviously, brilliant stuff from yourself. I think, remember correctly, that's your third win on the season. So now tied with Max for the top amount of wins for a single driver this season. I guess really the only question now is the final round of the championship in Brazil. Obviously, sadly for yourself, championship is over, so there's no fight for the championship. So I guess you're just going to Brazil, seeing if you can finish off on a high.
Yeah, of course. Congrats to Max. I think he's won the championship now. He's been consistent in that, so fair play to him. But going into the last round, I'll hopefully try and win again. But Max, obviously, he's won the championship now. Maybe he won't practice, so he might not be clear, but he might be at the same time. But yeah, I like Brazil as well, so hopefully I can win again. But I love a good quali bottle, so.
Well, I mean, you say that, but you did well tonight. So sometimes it's a yes, sometimes it's a no. We'll see how Brazil goes. But yeah, congratulations on your third win of the season.
Thank you, thank you.
You are very welcome indeed. We'll now move on to the man who finished in the end in P2. As somebody is starting up this lobby again, which I don't know who it is. It is Mr. Aurelian, of course, the man who finished in P2. And Aurelian, fantastic race from your perspective. Of course, your first race, I believe, in the Talent Factory team as well. Must be happy with that P2 out on track.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, really happy. Uh, honestly, this is not the track I'm the fastest, and I don't. For some reason, tonight it went pretty well. So yeah, I'm really happy, and of course, congrats to Tom for the win and Max for the championship.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll hear from Max in a second about that as well. You were under pressure, I've got to say, from Max and Keenan behind the Talent Factory team. I know for fine fact you were probably in the same party as them. So what was going through your head in that party, and what was going through in your thoughts?
Uh, Max wasn't pushing. He just stayed behind, I think, or at least that's what he said. And yeah, I tried to push Tom, but I was a bit slower in the first sector, so it was after difficult to catch up. But I had a good speed in the straight, so it was pretty good. And yeah, the undercut went pretty well. And yeah, after I had quite no ERS, so it was easier for Tom to pass. And I missed my chance at the safety car restart. I had a huge moment in the S section, so I almost finished in the wall. But yeah, after that it was over for the win.
Yeah, there was a part of that race as well. Actually, you gained, I think, what, 8, 9 tenths, I think, on the back of Tom. And I was thinking, oh, here we go. We might actually try and get him out of DRS range here. Were you feeling threatened as well with having Tom in behind you? Because he looked really quick in behind. And obviously went for that move a little bit earlier than expected. Were you always fearful of him coming back at you with that undercut working?
Yeah, I was happy when I was P1, but I knew Tom after with um, younger mediums and maybe also a better pace. He would pass me, and yeah, he had more ERS. Also after the pit because I had to push to make the undercut work. So after it was an easy pass for him.
Yeah, it seemed that way as well out on track, I think, from Tom's perspective. But you did a stunning job to get P2, of course, out on track. Aiden, any questions?
Well, congratulations, Rayleigh. Nice to hear from you again this week after obviously the issues had last week. But two podiums in a row for the first two rounds. It's fair to say as well for yourself that the middle part of the season didn't really go in your way. What's kind of changed for you, do you think, in these last two rounds that's helped to kind of refine your form a little bit?
Yeah, The first race was really good. I got podium, and after I got only bad luck.
Mm.
So it was a bit annoying. So, but I don't know. This week it feels better. So also maybe better tracks. So this is really good. And yeah, I'm happy to do 2 podiums in a row, and I will try next week to win maybe because it's two times with China I missed the win. So
Yeah, obviously, like you say, next time out Brazil, potentially going for the win. Do you think it's definitely a track you can win at Brazil? Is it a favourite of yours?
it's not one of my favorite, but if I train a bit, maybe I can get the pace.
Perfect stuff. Well, we'd love to see you cap off the season with a win, so that'd be nice to see. Congratulations, Aurelian, on your third podium of the season.
Thank you.
Very welcome indeed. And now we can speak to the man who, more importantly in this race, finished P3, but has also been crowned Season 33 PSF1 champion. It is Talent Factory Max. And Max, first of all, congratulations. It was pretty much all over on that one with that contact with Marketos. Talk us through what happened, because it just looked like you got caught in each other.
Yeah, I don't know. I just locked my fronts into Stefano, and then I didn't know what to do. Stefano was on my right, Marco was on the left, and I didn't know where to go. And yeah, it was a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, I saw it in the back of commentary and I thought, oh, this is going to be maybe a little bit controversial. Marco of course, lost the front wing in that instant, but you got away with that damage, got away into your rhythm as well, up there with the likes of Kian, and you really controlled, I think, the element that was to be controlled, and that was you leading the championship. And with Marcos pretty much out the picture earlier on, you must have been breathing a bit of a sigh of relief that that was happening, and along with, of course, the fact that you had a Talent Factory guy in front of you and a Talent Factory guy in behind you.
And yeah,
Yeah, it certainly seemed, I think, quite easy from your perspective. Kian, of course, was running over track limits at turn 11 multiple times out on track, which might maybe get investigated as well. I think it might have just been the case of him bottoming him on the curb. But with the safety car as well, was that safety car a real hindrance or a real help to you? Because it almost looked like you were going to force somebody to come in the pit lane, and eventually I think Jensen did come in the pits behind.
I think the safety car wasn't good for us because we weren't able to overtake Tom anymore. He was faster than we were, and yeah, without the DRS, it was impossible. And yeah, Jensen, we forced him into the pits, but yeah, he lost too much drag position, so he wasn't a threat anymore.
Yeah, and that wasn't the threat, obviously, in that spin as well on the final lap. So unfortunate for Jensen, I think, within that race. Is there anything you want to say as well to your team, to Talent Factory, for giving you that support, because you are now the Season 33 champion? What is next for Talent Factory Max?
Yeah, really thank you to Mace as well because he is the guy who brought me into this team, and he also engineered me the whole season. And yeah, Ryan for the setups, yeah, and everyone supported me the whole season long. So yeah, really nice team, and I'm looking forward for the next season with them.
Yeah, you are going to be, I'm going to say, one of the guys to watch out for F1 23. You are going to be hopefully up there in F1 Esports Challengers, and you are going to really excel, I know for a fine fact. Congratulations on a P3 in your championship win. Aiden, any more thoughts, any questions?
Well, another congratulations to you from me. Brilliant season from yourself, Max. It's been great to watch you, especially considering the context of your championship coming from F3 into F1. I think my first question is about that. I think coming into the season from F3, did you think a championship was possible this season, or did you always know that you had the pace and the tenacity to be able to win?
No, I really didn't think about that. I was just thinking about a season where I can fight for points and don't have the pressure about a championship win. But yeah, after the first two races, it turned out that I have the pace to win the championship, and yeah, I really wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, it was definitely a surprise for us in the commentary booth as well, seeing that happen. I guess one thing from another thing as well. Throughout the season, what do you think has been the highlight for you? What's been the high story? Obviously, other than winning the championship, of course, that is a highlight. Is there anything else that stands out to you as a highlight this season?
Maybe Singapore winning by I don't know how many seconds it were, but a few seconds. So yeah, and it was also a back-to-back win. So yeah, Singapore definitely for me.
Yeah, that was an amazing race. That one was Singapore night. So we'll see. But going into Brazil, is it just all gloves off, seeing what you can get, or is it just bringing it home and capping off the season?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if I can even race because I don't think I'm home, but I'm not sure. So yeah, we will see. I'm not sure if I can race next race.
Well, it's a good thing you wrapped up the championship tonight, then,
Yeah.
if that is the case. So, yeah, that played nicely into your hands. So, yeah, well, congratulations for me again. It's been an amazing season. You've been great to watch all season long, and I can't wait to see what you do in future PSGL seasons.
Thank you.
You are very welcome indeed. And that rounds us off very neatly indeed for our interviews for tonight. I really hope you enjoyed the insight that all three gave them as well, especially Max there thanking his team, because I think that the team is a big, important part of how he's got this championship. Having Mies as well being the engineer in the background. These are the real behind the scenes things that you don't really get to witness, I think, from an interviews perspective. And the fact that Talent Factory is such a well-known team on PS platform, no wonder Max is going to go far.
Yeah, definitely no wonder. We always talk about like the big teams, really, don't we, from this side of things? And as of recent, especially on this game cycle, Talent Factory, Shazoo, those kind of teams, TF10, they've really been kind of the ones that have kind of led the charge in the PlayStation realm of things for F1. So no surprise that the Talent Factory have managed to get a title-winning driver to the top of PSF1. And I think we've mentioned it in previous streams before. I think we've discussed it in the past as well. But the best thing about a team, not necessarily is maybe the setup gains and things you can gain from it. It's just the community that comes with it as well. Having a community of fellow drivers with a fellow interest, all with similar pace and similar ambitions, just eggs you on that little bit more, and it gives you a bit more motivation to do more and to race more. I know specifically from personal experience, when you're racing on your own without a team, you're kind of stuck in your own ways, kind of doing your own thing, and you don't have that extra motivation to go faster, which is where these teams come in, and a lot of them succeed. That's why you see teams like TF and Shazoo do really well, because they've got a really good, strong community that all push each other forwards. So yeah, it's great to get that insight from them. And yeah, Talent Factory did a very good job in signing Max when they did, because that's paid off beautifully for them. And going forwards in future PSGL seasons, I'm sure that's not the last time we'll see a Talent Factory driver win at the top class.
Definitely not. Definitely not. I think I remember Max actually in PSGL F3 season 30, and I think he took the first race for like 10 seconds, and I was thinking, oh, this kid's quite good. And he came literally on the scene from that, and obviously being an F1 the last couple of seasons, he's done a fantastic job, and there's no man, I think, better deserving of the championship this season, with his 3 wins on the board, multiple podiums to go with it as well. He's done an absolute fantastic job, and of course, congratulations from all of us here in PSGL to TF Max, who is your season 33 PSF1 champion. To remind us, of course, what we're going to have for you next week, it is, of course, Brazil next week. And Brazil, Aiden, a track that I absolutely love to commentate on. Unfortunately, I'm going to be demoted back down to F2 next week, so I'm not going to be joining you for F1 next week. Jess, of course, is going to be in the commentary box. But Aiden, it's going to be a fantastic race in Brazil. And with Max potentially not going to be there, it could open up the racing once again for some unknown quantity who hasn't picked up a race win this season to come alive in Brazil.
Yeah, definitely could. There's still definitely people, I think, obviously we've got to take in mind that this is going to be the last race on this game cycle as well. We're moving very swiftly into F1 23, which is coming out in just over a month's time. So yeah, this is going to be the last week on F1 22. So these drivers this is kind of some drivers in F1's last attempt really to really prove why they deserve to stay in F1. Of course, there's still drivers that have had poor seasons that we mentioned, a couple of them so far this season. Deso struggled this season in terms of raw speed. Rick has struggled this season. Nemaya has struggled. There's a few drivers like that who go into Brazil kind of needing a really strong result to stake their claim and hold a place in the top class of PSF1. And Max, drivers like Max and Kian, I think Kian also came from F3 if I remember correctly as well. I'm not sure if it's F3 or F2 actually, but drivers have come from F2 and F3 and immediately shone in F1. It's not like in previous F1 seasons in PSGL where there's been a bit of a bigger gap and it takes time for people to build up. I mean, we talked about Tom coming from F2, obviously winning F2 it took him a while to really find his feet, but then he found his feet and then lost his feet again and then has found his feet again. So it's the gap between the top divisions of PSGF1 is much closer than it ever has been. So if you can't keep a good stronger hold on pace in the top class, it's very easy to find someone else from another division that can get moved up into the top flight of PSGL. So there's definitely a few drivers going to Brazil that really need that good result.
Yeah, definitely so. And I mean, Volakongan is a prime example, I think, from last season. He was he was champion last season, of course, for PSGL F2, and he didn't pick up a race win all season long. Last season, he did not pick up a race win, and now he's picked up a race win and a podium, and then again a very good result here tonight, finishing 4th in Saudi Arabia. So it just comes to show the improvement that can happen game upon game and season upon season on a game cycle like this. I really hope you've enjoyed the action, by the way. My first time commentating on F1, I think, in a full season, actually, being alongside Aiden here in the commentary box. So, a bit rusty, but hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, of course, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new to the channel. You can check out as well, you can use the code PSGL at checkout on GT Omega, GTOmegaRacing.com, I believe it is. It's all in the description. You can check out Grid Rival there as well. Fantasy League, I believe, is still open. There's a prize pool for that as well, so if you do want to get involved in that, you can. I'll be checking out my team afterwards, see if I can try and sub in Logan Sargent for a couple of races going forward, because he did absolutely shockingly for me in Miami. But we are gonna end it off, I think, there. And Rowan as well, saying in Discord as well, saying that he would have had the pace too at the start, and he was the real unfortunate one, I think, in this race. And I've just told him, look, there's a lot of positives to take out of the race. It might not seem like it, but take your positives out of that. There was plenty to come from Rowan, and he could be a man to watch out for certainly next week in Brazil. And we are, I think, are going to end it off pretty much there. Big thank you, of course, to the absolutely brilliant Aiden Carter joining me in the commentary box on the right-hand side of me. I really hope you enjoyed it, and we will both see you, of course, in our respective tiers next week for F1 and F2. F2, of course, 7 p.m. UK time. F1 at 8 p.m. UK time. Jess will be back next week for the season finale of season 33. For PSGL F1, we're waffling on. I'm going to end it off here. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.